All right, well, thanks everyone. It's great to see so many familiar faces in the room. We'll give a short presentation on the project, but first, I'm Kara Wood, Executive Director of Grand Action 2.0. We're a nonprofit economic development organization that works on transformational projects for downtown. Some of the past projects that we've worked on were public-private partnerships that involved a significant community effort to bring the convention center, the arena, and also the downtown market to the city. So we're here with another project. We've done a lot of planning and research and analysis on a downtown amphitheater. And this project builds on that past success. So we've done a lot of research in terms of feasibility, economic impact, financial operation wherewithal. And so we're building on the past accomplishments to execute yet another project that is part of the destination asset study that was unveiled in 2017. So you may recall there was a 10-year plan of all the new investments that should occur in this marketplace for our growing city. And so this is just one of those. The development is on the riverfront, 201 Market from Fulton South to Bartlett Street. Actually, our site alone is just at the off-ramp at Market to Bartlett. It is a mixed-use development that would provide connections to adjacent neighborhoods, also provide, hopefully, to be a catalyst for the full 30 acres along the riverfront, provide activation and access to the river itself, and new housing development over time. This is an essential riverfront trail connection that is needed, and a great linkage to the White Pine Trail. It's estimated that this project could result in over $1 billion of new investment in residential, commercial, hospitality, and entertainment on our riverfront. This is the site here. The city and private investors have collaborated on the relocation of the trunk sewer itself and in the site, so essentially readying the site for development along the riverfront. And so I'm going to turn it over to Bill now to talk about the specifics on the technical design of the facility itself and some of the other details that are being looked at right now.
Thank you, Kara. I'm Bill Culhane with Progressive AE. We are the design architect. My particular role on this project is to work with Kara to help facilitate a lot of the front-end work that's been going on, so thank you for having us here. I feel really bad we don't have any music or flashing lights, but I was contemplating humming in the background, but decided to forego that. For those of you who are around and as old as I am, you may remember the relocation of the trunk sewer on Monroe Avenue when the convention center was being developed. That was one of the first things that we had to do, was relocate that same 13-foot diameter trunk sewer that goes along the river on the east side. So that was one of the things that we wanted to get out of the way for this potential development to take place. I always go backwards on this. So just a breakdown of those 31 acres. If we start down just south of Wealthy Street, part of the study area that was done when Populous and Progressive were engaged to take a look at the overall development and potential for these locations, we looked at the 1 acre site just south of Wealthy, 2.5 acres between Wealthy and the railroad, the 4.5 acres between the railroad and what was formerly the Bartlett right-of-way, and then the 11.5 acres minus the green way that's going to be retained by the city makes this 10.5 acres. And then, of course, the privately owned property here at Fulton and Market. This is, I like to describe this to people as Legos or building blocks. This is a study or density and massing study that we did to identify the potential development along those areas. And again, going south to north, potentially lower rise, low density, 70 units. As we move north, the density and the height of the projects increases with potentially 230 units. Directly south of the amphitheater site, the possibility of, again, a 500 to 700 unit residential development. On the amphitheater, we are currently looking at proposals and opportunities from private developers for a 300 to 400 unit development directly adjacent to the amphitheater. And then, of course, the red canopy structure here is the amphitheater. And then again, this is a potential development that could take place on that property, which is outside the scope of what we're doing right now. Along the bottom of the screen, these are examples of what other communities have done along the river and areas that could potentially take shape with either high-rise or medium density and medium-rise housing. As we focus in on the amphitheater site, one of the things that we are trying to do in our design solution is to create connectivity to the river from Market Avenue. So we have created this main plaza here at the northeast corner, which will do a couple of different things. It acts as our main entrance to the amphitheater. It connects some street activation with outdoor dining. This is our food and beverage area in the amphitheater. It's two-sided, so it faces the amphitheater and it also faces the street side and gives us opportunities during the week to keep that open. It also connects north through this 2.2 acre area that's going to be developed as open green space and park space. This gray area along here represents a 50-foot wide swath, which is the greenway connectivity through the city to the trail network. Our teams are currently working on how this is going to actually interface. What we've shown here is an example of how our trail network would connect with the river trail network. This represents a potential bridge that would go from our property to the west to Grand Valley's property. We are seeking grants for that right now in hopes that we can create funding opportunities for that. Along the south edge here, this is the old Bartlett right-of-way. We have just a surface parking lot right now to provide parking for the amphitheater. And then this is our back of house. For those of you who have ever seen the back of house of a traveling musical show, I always like to quote the Taylor Swift. Taylor has 22 semis and I think 8 buses that go along with her everywhere she goes. So you can tell that we don't have that space here, but ASM Global has a marshalling yard that they will use outside of the immediate downtown area. But we do need semi-docking areas and tour bus locations for that. We have 7,000 fixed seats, 5,000 under the canopy, 2,000 that ring the upper concourse, and then we have 5,000 on the lawn area here. As we look at how people are going to get to and from the venue and how we're going to manage things, we've identified public parking spaces within the city of Grand Rapids through a 5, 10, and 15-minute walk, which could also include access by electronic mobile scooters or bicycles, Uber Drop, Rapid, Dash buses, and other public transportation. But within this 15-minute, we use walking as our time radius. Within this 15-minute walking radius, we have public lots, select private lots, GVSU lots, and then on-street parking for a total of 15,500 spaces. We anticipate typically the parking relationship you use is 3 to 1. So for every 3 people that go to the concert or event, they will typically come in 1 car on average. So we're looking at 4,000 parking spaces potentially for the amphitheater. If you look at a joint evening, let's say the Griffins are making a long run in the playoffs and they've got a big playoff game, simultaneous event, 12,000 at the arena, 12,000 at the amphitheater. That still totals only 8,000 parking spots anticipated. So we feel like we have plenty of parking available in this area to serve the amphitheater. That's why we had just a small amount of on-site parking. As we look at mobility, we just recently, I don't know if anybody from the Rapid is here today. If I didn't recognize you, sorry, I apologize for that. But we met with the Rapid yesterday to talk a little bit about what other communities are doing during these large events, what Nashville does at the Ascend Amphitheater, what some of these other facilities are doing. So they are engaged with us in initial communications to talk about this. But we did highlight here the pink line, which is the newest Dash route. And as this is our site, so the new Dash buses go right by the amphitheater site. We also took a look at sound, traffic, sound, people, and hours of operation. And of course, the big questions regarding the amphitheater, if you've been watching the news or reading anything lately. So what we did is we engaged a company called Adibri. They're national sound consultants. They work on amphitheaters, public entertainment venues. And what we did is we came here probably about a year ago in the spring, and we took baseline sound readings. The current sound readings on this site, we know it's an industrial site. We know there's a lot of heavy truck traffic. We know it's mostly asphalt and steel right now, unfortunately, right on our river. So we're excited about being able to transform that. But as we talk about sound, we took a sound reading in the locations. The minimum sound reading was 48 decibels, which is normal conversation. Probably 48 decibels is even a little lower than I'm talking right now. A maximum of 73 decibels with an average of 66 decibels for the baseline sound on the current site. That was taken over a 2-day period, 48 hours continuous recording of sounds. And as we look at the way the amphitheater is structured and some of the sound mitigation that we've employed on this, we see that our projected sound on site ranges between 67 and 100 decibels, which is equal to either a hairdryer or a concert. So the projected sound leaving the site is between 67 and 77 decibels, which is equal to a washing machine, residential washing machine, or a noisy restaurant. And the projected sound on adjacent parcels is between 62 and 67. And the way that this has been accomplished, if you remember the floor plan or the site plan that we just looked at, and you think about the shape of our berm that we were looking at, you can see that this darker red colors and these orange colors take on the shape of that berm. And the reason that sound is reacting that way is because density, whether it's through concrete or through earth, is what stops those low frequency sounds and contains them within the amphitheater space. So as you can see, these lighter yellow colors and green colors, which are in that range of 67 to 77 decibels, those are the sounds that are getting out. And then you can also see, very interesting, how the expressway acts as a natural barrier. We are getting a little bit of reflection off GVSU as the sound comes across the river. It reflects off the Seidman building, and so we go from the green back to the yellow as we get a little sound feedback from there. Just a quick overview. I should have done this at the beginning. We did a computer model of the area, not only our amphitheater model, but also the surrounding area. Then we entered a sound source at the stage house here, and then we projected those sounds and did a computer modeling of that system. Just a recap with regards to public engagement. We did go through 3 different public engagement processes on this property. The first one, as I said, was done by a company called Populous in conjunction with Progressive about 2 years ago, and it was talking about the redevelopment of the 31-acre site in total, not specifically about the amphitheater, although the amphitheater was part of it. Some of the goals that came out of there is to embrace the location, to be a world-class entertainment venue, to be more than an entertainment venue to the community, to create an iconic architectural expression similar to what Kara led with in the Van Andel Arena and the DeVos Place Convention Center. We wanted to contribute to the vibrance and growth of our downtown, and to create a sustainable asset for everyone, not just for music, but also as a development of a park, as the engagement of the river, and providing access for people of all areas in the city. Some of the other community engagement that we did was about a year ago. Rossetti Architects at that time was working with Progressive. We engaged various stakeholders in the community. We did 6 meetings over a series of 2 days. And some of the things that came out of that, excuse me, was, again, the importance of river activation, creating free and multiple access points for everyone to the river, to also identify opportunities for local and minority-owned businesses, for pop-up restaurants, for bars, for other entertainment venues. And then we talked about housing to create this opportunity for mixed income housing on this 31-acre site. Again, we're looking at between 1,500 and 1,700 new housing units, connections to the trail, creating the river as a destination for all, and really utilizing that asset within the city. The last round of community engagement was just prior to our special land use application that was heard back on June 22nd with the City Planning Commission. That community engagement included 8 neighborhood or business organizations. We specifically met, talked about the amphitheater, the location, and opportunities to engage not only with businesses but also neighborhoods and how that might impact them, and talk specifically about ways and suggestions that they had. A recap: 12,000 seat capacity, 54 ticketed events per season, 300,000 visitors anticipated per year, $7 million in annual wage earnings, $490 million impact over 30 years, 480 jobs, again, over that 30-year period. And as I talked about, our next steps for the amphitheater, we did receive special land use approval from the Planning Commission. We are in the process of creating or filling out our capital needs. We have to work with the city of Grand Rapids. I notice Tim's here in the background. Tim and I have been talking a lot about how we're going to relocate and coordinate the access to the site regarding the relocation of the current city Public Works Department. And we are doing that in anticipation of beginning demolition and then construction in May of 2024.